Hello and a very good evening to you. Thank you for joining me and for tuning and for watching as Influences of Times continues to bring you into the very heart of Britain's most abandoned and derelict locations. Now, the whole purpose and reason behind this live broadcast is to bring you to probably one of the most eeriest places that I've ever been. Now, I know and I understand, and you have to forgive me, I'm just trying to compose myself because obviously I'm extremely nervous. So just bear with me while I just compose myself. Okay, so as I said, thank you so much for watching and for tuning in. I appreciate your company and I really do want to say thank you to you. And if this is your first time watching, a very warm welcome to you. And if this is your second or third time, thank you so much for joining me and for coming back and for watching me Influences of Times, as I mentioned just a minute ago, as I continue to bring you into the very heart of Britain's most notorious, most abandoned and derelict locations, to uncover those forgotten stories, to bring you live broadcasts and photography, and to uncover the fascinating stories behind these amazing and wonderful places. So, now that I've composed myself, as you've probably watched, as you're probably aware, the last couple of times, even though I've done some live broadcasts from different abandoned derelict locations throughout the kind of area, so to speak, and I have been to one or two places quite far away, the last couple of broadcasts that I've done, in fact the last one or two that I've done, have been from tunnels, and they've been during the night. And the whole reason and purpose behind them was not only to bring you the stories and bring you into those locations during the daytime, but to bring you back at night time, to give you an idea of what it's like to be in those locations at night, because believe it or not, during the night it's a whole different ball game, and it really does make you feel things completely different from during the daytime. So just to very briefly recap, weeks and weeks ago I did a broadcast from Cosley Tunnel. Only last weekend we did a live broadcast from Cosley Tunnel during the night time, and I managed to sort of stick it in there for kind of half an hour. I think it was actually nearly an hour, but it was the most fascinating experience. There was there was kind of like a misty fog in there, and it really just did create an eerie atmosphere, and it really was quite a fascinating experience. And hopefully, if you've watched it, you found it fascinating, interesting. If you haven't seen it, if this is your first time, then if you go to my Facebook page, you can watch the Cosley Tunnel live broadcast that I did last weekend at night time. I also did a broadcast, or should I say a pre-recorded message from Netherton Tunnel a couple of weeks ago, and that again, sorry, signal cut off then. So I did a pre-recorded message from Netherton Tunnel at night time a couple of weeks ago, and I think it was probably the day before that I actually did a pre-recorded message from the location that I'm in now. If you haven't watched that particular pre-recorded message, please have a look, because it was a fascinating, I managed to stick it in here for about half an hour. It was a fascinating half an hour, and if you've seen it, you'll know exactly what I mean. I'm not going to go into any detail, but if you've seen it, you'll know what I mean. If you haven't, again, go onto my Facebook page and click through or scroll down through all the different video messages, and you'll come to this location. Now, I have to say, I did mention on many occasions, in fact in probably most of my broadcasts and pre-recorded messages, I did say that I wouldn't come to this location. However, I've managed to pluck up the courage to come here at night, and I have to say it's taken me quite a while to sort of settle down and feel comfortable, and you can probably tell that by the way I'm talking. In fact, I'm only just now beginning to feel relaxed because I'm not actually thinking about where I am too much. So, without further ado, I welcome you back to the most eeriest location that I have ever broadcast from or ever been to. I welcome you back to Dudley Tunnel. And you can probably tell, because this is live, it is dark outside. It's about 8:15 on Wednesday, and yeah, it's pretty dark. And I'm just trying really hard not to look behind me, but obviously we'll have a look around in a minute. So yes, I welcome you back to Dudley Tunnel. Dudley Tunnel, just a very quickly recap, is well over 100 years old. The last trains, passenger trains, in fact, the Dudley Tunnel actually runs underneath Dudley itself, and it connects I think it's the Wolverhampton. I think it connected Wolverhampton to Dudley and some other places around the area. And the railway line itself, in fact, the railway lines in this tunnel are still here. In fact, the railway lines themselves run not only just through this tunnel, but beyond either end as well. Now, I'm nearest to, I don't know whether it's the north or south end, but I'm nearest to the end that would have been Blowers Green Station. At the other end of the tunnel would have been Dudley's original train station. Now, the railway line that runs the other end, which is nearest to Dudley Castle, actually runs right up to the present day Dudley train station and goes beyond that. So it goes beyond and to Wolverhampton itself. Now, the last passenger trains to pass through this tunnel was back in, I think it was 1993 or 96-ish, something like that. And then freight trains continued to use, in fact, I think I might have got that wrong, bear with me. I think the last passenger trains to use this was back in the 1960s. The last freight trains to pass through this tunnel was in the 1990s. It was used for a month after that, with that, I think it was a special, it was like a cable train or something, and then it was closed for good. So this tunnel has been closed or abandoned and derelict for over 20 years, for about 20 years or so. Like I said, it's over 100 years old. And as I've said on many occasions, it is without question the eeriest place I have ever been. It's not scary by any means. There is nothing scary in or about this tunnel. However, if you come down here during the daytime and walk through the tunnel, you need a light. There is no question, you need some kind or some form of light. And as you walk through the tunnel, especially as you get to the middle, even though you can only just see the tiny specks of light which come from either end of the tunnel, which is like the entrance and the end, or both ends of the tunnel, even though you can see them specks of light, it is absolutely pitch black in here. And if you've watched the pre-recorded message that I did a couple of weeks ago, you'll see what I mean, and we'll have another look in a minute. But it is pitch black, literally pitch black. You cannot see anything. Even with the light, you can't. I'm looking down, I can't even see my feet right now. I can't see anything around me apart from the torch and a brief kind of shadowy thing over there, which is obviously mine. That's all I can see. I can't see anything around me. If I look behind me, if I look in front of me, if I look above, I can't see anything but absolute pitch darkness. But to come down here at night time is a completely different kettle of fish. Really is a completely different kettle of fish. There is just something eerie about this tunnel, and I think it's the only thing that I can come up with. It's the silence. There is the most strangest, eeriest silence I've ever heard anywhere. I have never heard a silence like there is in here, and you wouldn't think it. Now, I'm nearest to the Blowers Green Station end of the tunnel, simply because that's the only way I can get a live broadcast signal. Now, had this not have worked, I would have had no option but to have done another pre-recorded message from the very centre of this tunnel. So in a way, I'm actually glad that I've got a signal, as weak as it might be, or if it keeps cutting out or reconnecting, that's fine, I can cope with that. But in a way, I'm glad, because it means I don't have to do a pre-recorded message from all the way in there. Now, I did actually have to walk all the way through this tunnel to get to the other end to get a signal, because at the other end, in other words, the Dudley station end, I just couldn't get a signal. So I had no choice but to walk through this tunnel just to see if I could get a live broadcast signal, and luckily, thankfully, I have. However, walking through this tunnel, just like Cosley Tunnel, there is this, because it's been raining really heavy, it's not so much humid outside, but because it's so cool in here and dark, there's a mist, and it's like a bank, and it's really, it's kind of like, it doesn't cover the whole tunnel, it's almost like from the waist up. So from your waist up, there's a fog or a mist, and it's thick. And when I was shining my torch, I could literally see it just hanging in the air. And because it's so silent and so still in this tunnel, the fog or the mist wasn't moving. It was literally like it was just hanging there. So that gives you an idea of how still and quiet it is in here. And I have to say, I did have to keep stopping every so often just to shine the torch around, just to see. Now, I did hear something as I walked through the tunnel, and it sounded like a voice. However, it's been raining. There is lots of like rubbish at the other end, so it could have been water dripping on. So I think there's some polystyrene, so it could have been water. Excuse me, sorry, I got bugs on me. There could have been water dripping on something and making it echo like a voice. However, I have to be honest with you guys, and I can see people watching. Thank you for joining me. Of all the places, and even as apprehensive or as nervous, maybe not nervous, but apprehensive as I've felt in previous nighttime live broadcasts that I've done, I am the most apprehensive here. And I think it's because of that half an hour I spent in here the other week. But I'm trying not to think of that. I'm trying really hard not to think of that half an hour. Now, for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, when I did the pre-recorded message, because there is no, if you go through the tunnel, there is no telephone signal whatsoever, so you cannot use your mobile phone. If you check your phone, you can see there's no signal. You get the bars, but there's no signal, so you literally am cut off from the outside world as you walk through the tunnel. And it's not till you get right to the end, or near to the end, that you get a signal. So when I did the pre-recorded message, and I spent the half an hour in here, about 10 or 11 minutes into that pre-recorded message, I looked away, and my eyes are accustomed to the difference between the light coming from my mobile phone in the dark. And as I glanced back towards the camera, there was something, definitely something, just standing behind the camera. And it only lasted a few seconds, just enough for me to get an idea or a glimpse of what it looked like, and then it moved away. But it was enough to panic me. It was enough to throw me off, panic me, and I really had to compose myself and almost kind of mind over matter the situation. And you can tell if you watch it by the way, not only my physical reaction, but by the way I talk. You can tell by my voice and the tone of my voice and the way that I'm trying to talk that I'm like, I kind of have to kind of really compose myself. But it was the most fascinating half an hour I've ever spent in here. Now, I'm not somebody who makes things up, but I have to say, and I think I said this in Cosley Tunnel, in 40 years I have never ever seen or felt anything like that half an hour a couple of weeks ago, ever, anywhere. That's the first time that's ever happened to me. I wasn't scared, I was startled, and I was shocked. It was enough, whatever it was enough to startle me and panic me, but panic me enough to where I really had to compose myself. But it could have been anything. It could have been anything. But if you haven't watched that pre-recorded message, like I said, if you are interested, have a look. You can't see anything, but it's just my reaction to what I can clearly see. And I wasn't dreaming, there was definitely something there. And like I said, I can describe it to you. I can clearly describe how high it was and what it looked like. There was no features, there was no real outline, but I can describe it to you. It lasted long enough for me to describe, and then it moved away. It didn't just vanish, it moved. However, I'm just going to leave it at that. And I've said on my previous, I think it was a couple of weeks ago, I just wanted to clarify that under no circumstances do I come anywhere that I am aware is haunted or anything to do with paranormal activity. I am not a ghost hunter, I am not a paranormal investigator, I'm not interested in dabbling or intrigued. It's fascinating, don't get me wrong, but under no circumstances am I looking for anything other than simply bringing you into abandoned or derelict places, and that's it. And I know I kind of clarified that a couple of weeks ago. I just didn't want people to get the wrong impression. The reason why I've decided to come back here is because that half an hour was so fascinating that I kind of had to build myself up to this live broadcast. I have to be honest with you guys, I did. I really had to build myself up to this. And I know I've said on many occasions, I don't mean to keep repeating myself, and I'm sorry if this is old hat, but I've said on many occasions, in fact probably nearly most of my broadcasts or pre-recorded messages, I've said this is the one place I would never come back to on my own. I'd come here with someone else, but I wouldn't come here on my own, and I certainly wouldn't come here at night. However, with a bit of courage and a lot of thinking, I decided to give it a try. I suppose it was that inquisitiveness, that intrigueness. I just wanted to know what it would be like in here at night, and that's what I've done. So we're in Dudley's oldest railway tunnel, the eeriest place I've ever been. I have to say, now that I've been here talking for a couple of minutes, I do feel a lot more comfortable. I feel a lot more relaxed. I can hear the traffic, however I can't see anything outside. But we'll have a look in a minute and you can see what it's like in here. I just want to tilt the camera down a bit. Just bear with me a sec. Sorry, you got to bear with me because I'm holding a torch and I'm kind of having to... That's it. And because I'm broadcasting from my new tripod, it's a bit short. In fact, it's shorter than me, believe it or not, and I'm short. It's shorter than me, so I'm having to squat. So it actually looks like I'm going to the toilet, or trying to, but I'm not, trust me. But I'm having to squat, kind of like stoop in front of you. That's the only way you're going to see me, and I need a torch. But if I do it, that's probably a little bit better. There, it's a bit better, isn't it? But we'll have a look around in a minute. It's taken me about 15 minutes to compose myself. But I don't want you to think that I've come down here to deliberately put myself in a scary situation, because there's nothing scary about this place. It's just eerie. It's just the silence. And it is so quiet. You wouldn't think it. And you wouldn't think that a tunnel could be so fascinating. It's just a tunnel. There's 2 railway lines. It's dark. It doesn't smell. There's nothing in here frightening or scary. There's no shadows or nothing. It's just a tunnel. It's not in a straight line. It slightly curves. So there's nothing scary in here. It's just the silence. And in fact, it's probably the only practical way of describing it to you is to say that if you can imagine being somewhere, it could be anywhere. No, probably not a room, because you've got like almost the comfort of a room, but if you can put yourself in a tunnel, day or night, it doesn't matter, but in a tunnel, in absolute darkness. When I say darkness, I mean absolute darkness, pitch black. You cannot see anything. Imagine being in absolute dark, darker than dark. Darker than the dark that me and you know at night time, when you can still see the dim light coming through the curtains or something. I mean, close your eyes, dark, absolute pitch black, and imagine not a single noise, to the point where you could hear a pin drop. And I mean a pin drop. So if you can imagine that, that's what it's like in here. But it's like in here day or night, all the time. I mean, just more silent than silent. And we take noise for granted because we're surrounded by it all the time. The only time it's quiet is when we're sleeping, because we're not aware of anything. But even at night time, if you're out in the morning and it's dark, or at night time it's dark, you've got noise of some kind. It could be, even in the countryside, you might have the noise of a plane. You might have the distant hum of traffic. You might have something. But it's just the most silent silence you can ever imagine. So if you can imagine putting the darkness and that together, and this fog stuff in here, put the 3 together, that's what it's like in here. I'm almost too... It's not that I'm too afraid to look behind me, but I'm consciously aware of what's... You can't even see my hand. There you go. If I do... Just to give you an idea. So you've got my hand. And if I just move the torch away and do that... Can you see how it disappears? Literally, and my hand's probably only 3 feet away from the camera, if that. If I bring it back, there, look, see it? So you can get an idea of how dark it is. But I just wanted to bring you down here at night time. And not only that, for those of you who haven't maybe watched, maybe this is your first time watching, I wanted to bring you down. I just wanted you to see what it's like down here at night time. And this is new for me. Not so much doing a nighttime live broadcast. I'm just going to turn this torch off actually and save the battery. But, oh, it's made it worse. It's made it 10 times worse. I can't see anything now. Just bear with me. And it's not just about the fact that I can't see anything, but I know I've mentioned before about your it's not just your like physical sight and stuff. It's your it's like when you turn the light off, all your senses become even heightened. So every slightest noise, you look. Even though you can't see anything, you look. It's a natural reaction, you just look. If I was to hear anything to the side or behind me, I'd look. I can't see anything. There'd be no point in me looking. But you just look anyway. And your senses just become so acute. So acute. Your sense of touch. So I'm aware of how everything feels on me. My clothes, my shoes. So my physical being. So I'm aware of everything. How everything feels on me. So that's fine, I'm happy with that. I know, I can feel, I can sense. So if I feel anything else, I mean, if something lands on me, that's fine. I know there's moths and bugs and stuff here. But if there's anything else, something I can't explain, that's when you panic. Because you want to know what it is. But it's not just about what you can feel, my hearing. And the worst thing is, even though I'm talking to you and I can see I say I can't see what's behind me, but I'm looking behind me. I've got this, it's that feeling that you've got your back to something, even though there's nothing there. And I remember saying to you last week, if you can imagine being somewhere like, let's say now, can you imagine being somewhere like this and knowing that you're being watched? Knowing something is watching you. You've just got a feeling you're being watched. Sorry. Somebody decided to text me while I was broadcasting. Sorry about that. As I was saying, that made me jump as well because my phone vibrated. Okay. Sorry. That's all that was. It was just a text message. Okay. That made me jump. See what happens? Simple things you react to. Can you imagine feeling as though you're being watched? And no matter how much we looked, no matter how much I shone the torch, we couldn't see anything. But you just know you're being watched. And I'm not saying that I feel like I'm being watched. I'm just consciously aware I've got my back. And all the darkness is behind me. It's an uncomfortable feeling. It's not scary, it's just an uncomfortable feeling. Because your natural reaction is to turn around. But I'm going to have to put this torch on in a minute. Because not only do I want to give you a look around, I just want to put this torch on. I'm not scared, I'm just apprehensive. It's really hard to explain. I've said this on so many times, and I hope those of you who are watching are finding this interesting. Like I said, I don't want you to think that I've come here specifically for something. Out of curiosity, I just felt. It's not that I felt that I had to. And I know when I did my first broadcast from Dudley Tunnel, weeks and weeks and weeks ago, as I was leaving this tunnel, I felt drawn and compelled to come back. I couldn't understand why, and no other location has ever made me feel that. But I felt led and drawn to come back. I think I come back a week later and did that half-an-hour pre-recorded message from in the very centre of the tunnel, and that turned out to be the most fascinating half an hour. But I just kind of, I don't know, I felt, it's not a case of I felt drawn to come back again, but I just wanted to know if I could come back and what it would be like at night time. And don't get me wrong, this is a fascinating experience, believe it or not, even though all my senses are on edge, and I wouldn't say I'm like, if you like, actually on edge, but even though all my senses are really alert, it really is a fascinating experience. It really is. But I'm going to have to put this torch on in a minute. I don't know how much longer I can last with that torch on. But I'm not scared. It's just, I have to put it on. I think that's what I'll do. I'm going to put the torch on and let you have a look. And give you an idea what it's like in here at night time. For those of you who are watching for the first time, you might find this interesting. You might just want to have a look anyway. And we'll do a bit more. I'm going to try and stick in here for as long as I can. I will. I wish I could take you further into the tunnel, but I can't. If I do, I'll lose the signal, and then I'll have to either start again, or have half a message, or I'll have to do a pre-recorded message, which I don't want to do. There's actually some comfort out of doing a live broadcast, because I know people are watching. Okay, I'm going to put the torch on. There you go. So what I'm going to do is put the torch on, and you can have a look round, and you can see. So if I just move out the way, if I come out this way a bit, hopefully you're going to be able to see something. Oh, that was me. Take the camera that way. And if I just... Right, bear with me, because I'm using a torch, so I'm trying to work out and make sure that I don't get all mixed up. Because obviously when you do a live broadcast, it's back to front. But so if I just pan it round, oh, if I go, there you go. Right, if I do that, so that's outside, over that way. Believe it or not, that's outside. If I just pan this way, so you can see, so there, oops, sorry, so that, oops, sorry, bear with me a second. My phone's doing all sorts of funny things. There you go, so if you can see that. So that's one railway line, and I'm standing in the middle, and there's the other one. So they both run, and that's now looking right up into the tunnel. See? So if I put you next to the beam, so you've got like passing stations at various points, and they're on both sides. There's one there. So you've got like these little passing stations, which would have been used, I suppose, if there was a train coming and there were people in the tunnel. They could kind of stand in safety till the train passed. But hopefully I'm doing this right. Yeah, there. So you can get an idea. It's a big tunnel, very big. But can you see that foggy mist? Don't know if you can see it coming from the torch, like the beam. Don't know if you can see it or not. Just trying to get my bearing. You can see it a little bit, but it is quite foggy in here. But believe it or not, that's looking right up to the other end. So you've got, that's one railway line, and that's the other railway line there. Then you've got all this graffiti and stuff. But yeah, that's looking up to the other end. Believe it or not, it's up there somewhere. There's just absolute darkness. I don't even think you can see. I'm actually shining the torch on full beam. I don't even think you can see it. You can just about see it, I think. So now you can see. You can see it there. I'm standing right in the middle on the gravel, and then you've got the other railway line there, and that's what I've got my back to. So what I'm going to do is turn the torch off, and I'm literally standing right beside you. That was me, by the way. If you could hear something, that was me. But now you can see how dark it is. Absolutely pitch black. Completely pitch black. Darker than dark. It's amazing to think there's an entrance up there, around the corner. And I mean, I am quite far in the tunnel, believe it or not, as well. Even though I'm nearest to the Blowers Green entrance, I'm actually quite far in the tunnel myself, but when I did a pre-recorded message, I was literally all the way up there. But it is an absolutely fascinating place. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to pop you back on the floor. Turn the torch off and just get my bearings a bit. That's it. Okay, that's better. So if I was to do this, and I'm literally standing here, absolutely nothing. Completely blank. So now you can get an idea of the darkness that's in here. And I know it's very like, it's like what I said in Cozy Tunnel last week. Any source of light you find comfort in, you find a comfort in it, because it's obviously I find it very comforting to know there are lots of people watching. But you find a comfort in light. You just you're drawn to it, obviously. But there's a real comfort in just even the smallest amount of light. But I'm just aware that the darkness has surrounded everything. It literally engulfs everything. And I can almost feel it on me. You can just feel it kind of there. Not only can you see it, I mean, I've only got to turn, it's there, it's all around me. But I can feel it just there. It's not an oppressive, suppressive feeling, but it's just there. Like I said, you know it's there because you can see it, and you know it's dark and everything else, but your emotional side, it's just there. And the minute you turn the light off, it just closes in. That's it. It just engulfs everything instantly. It doesn't gradually dim. It doesn't kind of creep in. It just engulfs everything. And that's it. You're in darkness. But it's not until you're in somewhere like this that you appreciate and that you understand. And it is a fascinating experience, even though all this is really kind of, it does put you on edge, or it's uncomfortable, because obviously we're all comfortable with light and noise and everything else. But it still makes it a fascinating experience, because you're putting yourself in a situation you wouldn't normally be in. And I find it fascinating to experience that, but also to bring you in here so that you can see what it's like. And I'm hoping if I describe things, even though you're not here, and I would love all you guys that are watching to be here, even though some of you probably wouldn't, or would, I don't know, maybe some of you wouldn't do something like this. But I just love to bring you guys in here. And even though you can't be here physically as much as I'd like you to be, to experience this with me, I hope that if I can show you, but also describe to you what it feels like, you can share the experience with me. But I'm just constantly aware I've got my back to the darkness. Mind you, it wouldn't matter if I turn the other way around, because the only light I can see is from the clouds in the sky. It's not a clear night, it's a cloudy night, and I can only see a tiny bit of the sky. So even if I look the other way around, it would make a difference. But I think it's because the majority of the tunnel's behind me. It makes it more uncomfortable. I just don't want to hear anything. I don't even want to look behind me. It's like looking into a black abyss. That's what it's like. Like an eternal blackness. There's no confineness, there's no perimeter to it. It's just black. Endless, bottomless. And when you turn around and you look at it, you actually feel quite insignificant in a way. because you've got this like bit of light and me on my own, and you're just kind of you're exposed to it. You feel very exposed to the darkness, even though you know it's darkness. But when it's the most darkest dark you can imagine, you feel very exposed to it. I wouldn't say vulnerable, but you feel exposed to it, and it is slightly uncomfortable because we live in a world where we like to control situations, or we like to be able to cope with things, or we don't like being out of our comfort zone. But when you're taken out of your comfort zone, it really does kind of, well, it makes you think, it makes you appreciate when you're not in this situation. But I did think it would be a fascinating experience, and believe it or not, even though I'm not going to say the word, but even though I am, you get my drift, it's a fascinating experience, believe it or not. And I'm glad I've actually done this, believe it or not. I couldn't make this a habit. And I'll tell you now, even though I'm now kind of calm, I won't say calm, but even though I'm used to being here, there's no way I could spend a night down here on my own. Because you can't do a live broadcast for 8 hours, as much as I'd love to, but I wouldn't, there's no way would I spend a whole night in here. No way, not even with a torch. No way. Even if you paid me money, even if you offered me money to stay in overnight, no way. I wouldn't do it. No chance, not in here. Of all the places, definitely not here. No way. And especially after that half an hour I had the other week, forget it. Nah, I ain't doing it. Thank you very much. No tar. Just, you want to look behind you, but you don't. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to turn the camera that way a little bit more, just pan it down a bit. That's it. There you go. Just kind of squatting in front of you. Sorry, I'm actually just like squatting. It's the only way you can see me. But I just hope that you're finding this interesting. And I do apologise if it's not. I apologise if it's not very interesting for you, but I'm hoping it is. And we'll have another look around in a minute. But there really is only so much I can show you before you've kind of seen everything, because there's not really much else to show you apart from the dark, which you can see anyway. And I've probably blabbed on about it enough anyway. But there's the railway lines and things, but we'll have another look around in a minute. I just can't believe I've actually done this, or doing this. Can't believe I'm actually doing it. I'll tell you what, guys, it really took me a long time to pluck up the courage to come down here at night on my own. A lot of courage. And I wouldn't say I'm not happy, but I'm not comfortable. I'm relaxed and things, I've settled down a bit, but I would be lying to you if I said I'm fine. I'm not. I'm really not. I'm not scared, I'm just consciously aware and just apprehensive. So it's just something about this tunnel. And it sounds strange, but you know, I said to you, you could hear a pin drop. It's almost like you can actually hear silence. You know, it might sound a bit strange, but you know, when you've been somewhere that's so quiet that you could hear a pin drop, and it's almost like you can actually hear the silence. It's that quiet. You can almost hear it. That's what it's like in here, day or night. But it's quite intense in here. The silence is quite intense. It feels intense in here. Not just the darkness. That feels intense because it's so dark and so black. You can probably tell by my face that I'm just consciously aware of it. But it's the silence as well. It's quite intense. And put the two together, It's quite an intense experience. I'm going to put this torch on in a minute because I'm just aware that I haven't had it on for a long time, and I'm just going to have to look. I need to check. Even though I'm sure there's nothing there, I need to put the torch on and check. You know, when you haven't put the torch on for a long time and you put it on, you almost don't want to look, because you don't want to see something because it's been there all the time. Okay, I'm just gonna have a look. I've got to see what's behind me. I can't even. You turn the camera down a bit. There you go. Let me put it this way. Ah, that's better. Just turn it that way. Fraction. That's it. So you can see one railway line. It goes way up there. In fact, even the torch can't reach it. Can you see how far it goes? Fine. There's the other one. Look. Can you imagine what it'd be like if I panned this torch like that and I saw something, or you saw something just by there, or just there, just a glimpse of something? I'm aware there are people watching, and I'm not going to say what I would do. I almost don't want to look. That's what happens when you're put in these situations. Your mind compensates of what could or might happen. See that? There's the railway line. I can't believe how you can't even see. This torch is on full beam, and even it can't reach any further than there. There's the other one. So you can see bits of debris, like bits of coal. Bits of debris on the line, so I could hear something just over there somewhere. Oh, I just heard something by there. I just can't believe how you can't see. It's just so dark. That's how dark. It gives you an idea of the darkness. When I talk about dark, you can get an idea. Even the torch can't get any further. And like I said, the torch is on full beam, and only you can see as far as there. So even the torch, this bright LED torch, is having difficulty seeing through the darkness any further than there, look. So now you can understand what it's like. But yeah, I just don't want to hear anything. I just definitely don't want to see anything, because I will scream really loud. I will really, really scream. And I will literally just grab everything and run. Even though there's loads of nettles and brambles, I'm just going to run into them anywhere. Oh God. Do you know what? When I shine the torch up there and I look, my heart pounds. It just pounds. I just don't want to get a glimpse of something. I just don't want to see anything. I don't even want to hear anything. If I heard a voice, a mumble, I would absolutely freak. Because there's no way you could walk through here without a torch. So if I heard something and I couldn't see a light, I would be worried. Definitely worried. Even though I'd look, I'd be worried. And I'd run. And I wouldn't care. I would literally pick you up, grab my case and my bag, and I would seriously leg it for my life's worth. And then I definitely wouldn't come back here. No way. And the most politest way I could say is I'd probably soil myself as well. And then I'd have to go home on the bus like that. Soiled. Which wouldn't be very pleasant. Because I haven't brought any spare underwear or anything with me. So I'd have to go all the way home. Smelly. It's only... That's my breath you can see in the torch, by the way. That's not the fog, although it is still a little bit foggy. I think the fog's lifted a bit, but it's still there, but that's my breath you can see on the torch. I swore I heard something then. And I know I've said this in previous broadcasts. Let me just turn my torch off for a bit, save the battery power. Everything you see and hear is live. So I don't rehearse anything. I didn't come down here last night or the night before. This is literally on the night. So everything's live. So every live broadcast I do, whether it's day or night, every pre-recorded message I do, wherever it could be, and like the Dudley Tunnel one that I did a couple of weeks ago, or like the only difference is that obviously I have, because it's not a live broadcast and it's a pre-recorded one, that's the first difference, but obviously I have to kind of edit it a bit, so I have to cut out maybe the boring bits and just kind of glue the best bits together and then put it on Facebook as a pre-recorded message. But everything you see and hear, every reaction, every physical reaction you can see, every emotional reaction I describe, everything you can see or hear, even though you probably can't see anything, but everything you see and hear is real. I don't rehearse anything. I don't act on looking surprised, shocked, startled. I don't play on noises or anything like that. So everything, even though you can't maybe see or hear anything, everything is real. I don't have nobody's operating anything. It's just my mobile phone, a tripod and me, and a torch, and that's it. There's nobody with me. No one. And there's a reason for that. Simply because I don't want there to be any interference from anything else other than myself. Because at least if you're watching and it's just me, and you can probably see it's just me anyway, and I can assure you there is no one with me. If I hear or see anything, or if you see or hear anything, you know that it's something other than just me. And I just think there's a real strength, if you like, and there's something about raw footage that's not been tampered with. I don't use sound effects, I don't use filters, I don't use any kind of software editing apart from cutting a film, a pre-recorded message and making it shorter. I don't do anything else. So everything you see and hear is real. Every reaction, everything. Because I want to make this as fascinating and as interesting for you as it is for me. And I think once you start tampering with things, then it's not what it's meant to be then. And I don't want to lose that interaction with you. I want everything to be, absolutely without question, live, untouched. So every feeling I've described, everything is exactly how I'm feeling. And I'm consciously aware I've got to put that torch back on in a minute. I have to put that torch on in a minute. Okay. I'm going to put the torch on, we'll have another look around, we'll do a bit more, and then we'll finish, because I've probably been live for about, I reckon, 25-30 minutes. And there's only so much I can show you. There's only so much I can talk, because I don't want to make this boring. I want to try and make it as interactive and as interesting for you as it is for me. It's all very well me being here, but you're not. You're the ones that are sitting at home or wherever, whatever you might be doing. I want to make... What the hell was that? Hello? I want to make this as interesting for you as possible. Okay. Try what that was. Okay. Okay, I'm starting to feel a bit more panicky. Okay, we'll do a bit more. We'll have another look around. We'll do a bit more and then I'm going to finish, I think. Because I'm starting to feel a bit panicky. And there was definitely something there. I heard something. Okay. It could have been anything. It literally could have been anything. Hello? Hello? Okay. Okay, Okay, we'll do a bit more. My heart's pounding. I don't know what that was, but there was I heard a noise quite far down there. The thing is, when you're in a tunnel, it can be the most explanable noise. It could be something really simple. It could be a rat, rodent, it could be a drop of water, it could be anything. And because you're in a tunnel, the sound echoes. So it can blow it out of proportion. That sounded like a tapping noise. Not a drip of water, it was more solid. It was like, I don't know. I can't just, obviously you know what a drop of water sounds like, but it sounded like something was being tapped. And there is like metal, there's a trolley down there, there's metal stuff down there, there's a trolley. And there's other things down there as well, but it sounded like something was being tapped. Okay. We'll have another look around, we'll do a bit more and I'm going to finish. Because if I start hearing things, I'm going to really get quite spooked. And as it is, my heart's pounding. Just bear with me, so let me just compose myself. Okay. I'm just going to pick you up. Hopefully the camera's not going to like it did last time. So if I can just... Okay. Now you can... That's better. You can see a bit more now. See? So you can see, if I show you on the torch, see it is cut. Look, that's my breath. So you can see it is quite cold in here. And you can see that once you've breathed, you can see how long it lasts for. Because it's so still and quiet in here, it literally hangs like a cloud. You see it? It lasts for ages, and in fact it's still going. It's actually going up to the ceiling. You see it up there? My breath. So it literally lasts ages. But yeah, there's like I said, there's the railway line. there. What I don't want to do, just bear with me a sec guys, because what I don't want to do, I don't want the camera to suddenly flop. So I'm just going to hold you steady and you can have a look up. So that's now looking up at the ceiling. And you've got to be careful because these like covers, if you go and have a look, hopefully the signal's not going to cut out. But can you see that? You've got to be really careful. Oops, don't know if you can see it. I'm just trying to, sorry guys, I'm just trying to see what I'm doing. You see it? There. It's like a cover. So you've got to be really careful you don't fall down them, because that's water down there. They're like little covers, little manhole covers. Hopefully. Okay, I'm going to go back a bit because it's saying the connection's weak, and what I don't want to do is lose you. So I'll go back a little bit further, and hopefully it won't be so bad. There you go. You see how quickly the... Hello? See how quickly the signal goes? I can hear things, I really can. But it is definitely the most fascinating place I have ever been in my life. And even though, let me just put you back on the floor. Just put you back down there. I'll just turn this off a bit. Got my finger on the button just in case. But even though I've done a night stint in here, it is still absolutely, without question, hands down, every time, the most fascinating place. Even though it's just a tunnel. And that's all it is, just a tunnel. And it is the most fascinating, eeriest place and atmosphere anywhere ever. And believe you me, I have got a whole list of places that I'm going to be broadcasting from. So I'm going to be broadcasting from so many different places. I've got a whole list of places all over I'm going to be travelling all over the United Kingdom, taking you... Oh... Sorry, I don't know what that was. I don't know if that was a message or something, I don't know, but that made me jump. Sorry, I didn't mean to panic. That might have actually been my foot touching the tripod, and I didn't realise I was doing it. Oh, man, that made me jump. Sorry guys, sorry. I think it was just me. I think I just touched the tripod and made it move a bit. Oh God, I am literally, you see my hand shaking? See it? My knees are trembling. I wish I could show you. My knees are literally quivering. I'm sorry. Okay, just bear with me. So, I'm going to be taking you all over the United Kingdom. Literally, I've got so many different places in mind, so I'll be taking you all over the United Kingdom to different locations and places. And I don't think anywhere, any of those places, even though I haven't been to them yet, I don't think any of them are going to have this kind of atmosphere. I really don't. And I really have got some fascinating places in mind and in store for you guys. I really have, so I hope you'll keep watching and stay tuned, because I have got absolutely loads of places, fascinating places to come over the next weeks and months, and even into next year. And I'll be doing live broadcasts, I'll be taking lots of photographs, and I'll be uncovering the stories behind these places and taking you into them. Okay, I'm really sorry about that. At least I didn't swear like I did last week. That made me jump. And because it's so dark, you can't see your feet, so you don't realise how close your feet are to things. And I think that's what I did. I think I just touched the tripod leg. And because they're extension legs, the ends are quite tiny. And I think I just must have touched it. And it just grated the tripod on the gravel. Oh, disco. I almost had a disco in the tunnel then. Anyway. Okay. I'm going to finish very shortly, because I've probably been broadcasting for about 45 minutes or so, and I have to say I don't think I can last much longer. And to be honest, there's only so much I can do for you guys before it gets repetitive. But I'm hoping you found this interesting. I really do. And I'm so glad that people are watching. I can see people watching. Thank you so much for watching and for saying hello. A very warm welcome to you and hello back. So thank you for tuning in and for watching. As always, it's been a pleasure and a privilege to have your company. And I think I'd probably feel a lot more apprehensive if I knew there was nobody watching, because there is some comfort in knowing there are people watching this. But thank you so much for taking the time to watch. And like I said, I really do hope you found this interesting and fascinating, even if just a little bit. And I'm sorry if this wasn't as good as the other ones I've done, or if you didn't find this interesting, but hopefully you did. And I can only apologise if you haven't really been able to see much. I was hoping the torch would be to really show you a lot, but because it's so dark in here, even this torch is having difficulty lighting up enough, far enough ahead for you to even see. But it could be deceiving. Maybe you actually can see a lot. And can I just say, and I know I've said this before, please interact. By all means, message me. I can see comments and things, so thank you so much. But if you want to interact in any way while I'm doing live broadcast, please do so. If you know of any way, and it doesn't matter where you live, if you know of any abandoned or derelict or ruins or castles or fascinating places that you either know of or would like to know more about, please tell me. Bear with me a sec. I don't know what's best if I do that. So I can still hear something. I'm not happy about it. And it's coming from all the way down there, and I've got to walk through there in a minute. I literally have got to walk back through this tunnel to get out the other end. Okay, but if you know of anywhere, please tell me. It can be anywhere. Please tell me, get in touch. Even if I'm doing a live broadcast, comment, just comment on the things that I can see, or go onto my Facebook page, or go onto my website, www.camdronephotography.co.uk, leave a message. But yeah, let me know so that I can come to a place near you and do a live broadcast, if possible. Take photographs, and I can do some research and digging around and things, find out about the place, and then I can do a live broadcast near you and hopefully uncover some of the fascinating stories behind these amazing, fascinating places. Now stay tuned, because in the next week, I would say definitely within the next couple of days a week, I will be doing a live broadcast from the oldest monk priory in the area. It's not abandoned or derelict, but it is ruined, so there's not really a lot to see, but there is some fascinating history behind the place, and there's some ruins and some bits and bits. I don't want to spoil it too much, but there's some bits and pieces that are still... Hello? Hello? Okay. Hello? Okay, there is some fascinating... there's a fascinating story behind that location. So stay tuned, but it will be in the next couple of days or week. I'll be doing a broadcast from that priory. And it really is an old priory. It goes back to the 15th century, so it's one of the oldest monk priories left. in the area. So I hope you'll join me for then. I think we're going to leave it there because that's 3 or 4 times, definitely 3 times I have heard something coming from up that end. And I am so not looking forward to walking back through this tunnel. But I'm going to have to, because I have to get out of here. What the heck is that? Yeah, I'm definitely going to... I'm definitely going to have to walk back through this tunnel, and I'm not looking forward to it one bit. I definitely heard something. Like really light shuffling noises, but up there. Oh God, I'm going to have to walk back through this. I wish I had wings. I'd just fly out of here, but I'm going to have to walk. I'm going to have to. I cannot walk through this end. I've got to go through the tunnel. I have to. Okay, I'm going to finish there because I think we've been in here long enough, and I think I've had enough. I've heard a couple of things, and I think I've been exposed to the darkness long enough. So thank you so much for tuning in. I can't do anything else. I can't take you any further because we'll lose the signal. But thank you so much for tuning in and for watching. I hope you found this interesting and fascinating. Also, just very, very, very briefly, if for any reason, if I ever do a live broadcast and you do hear or see anything, and it's possible that maybe you can see more than I can, but if you ever do see or hear anything, even if it's whether you're watching a live broadcast now or whether you watch this broadcast again and again, or I don't know, or at a later time, if you do ever hear or see anything, please tell me, because it's possible you might be able to see or hear something that I can't. I don't know. Hopefully you won't. And I will be seriously worried if I get a lot of people saying, actually, I did see or hear anything. I'd be worried. I really would be worried, because it would have meant I didn't notice. Okay, I'm going to finish, because I've definitely had enough. What is that? Hello? Okay. Oh, what is it? Okay, I'm going to stop. I'm going to have to stop. I really want to go now. I've had enough, and I've got to walk back through here, and I'm going to walk through here very quickly. I'm probably going to run. Okay, thank you for watching. It's been an absolute pleasure and a privilege to have your company. Thank you anyway. All I can say is God bless, take care, watch this space, stay tuned. Like I said, I will be doing a broadcast from that priory in the next couple of days or in the next week at daytime, for sure, for definite. But until the next time, thank you for joining me, Influence of the Times, as I continue to bring you to the most derelict and abandoned places in the United Kingdom, to uncover their amazing stories and to give you an insight into history frozen in time. Until the next time, wish me luck. Until the next time, you take care and thank you so much. Bye-bye.